afternoon to our distinguished guests, families, and friends, LE Class 167, and on their behalf, welcome. My name is Lisa De Leon, the Director of the Criminal Justice Institute here at Indian River State College, and on behalf of College President Dr. Timothy Moore, Vice President Dr. Heather Belmont, coordinators Anthony Thompson, David LaFont, Joe Hamilton, and Pierre Pacheco, as well as our many instructors, we thank you for joining us to recognize the commitment and effort demonstrated by the members of Class 167 over 6 months of intensive training. I would now like to introduce our guest speaker. The guest speaker is chosen by the Graduating Academy class for having made an impact during instruction. With this, LE 167 has chosen Corporal Dwayne Collette from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Corporal Collette began his career in law enforcement by attending the Basic Recruit Law Enforcement Academy in May 2017 here at the Treasure Coast Public Safety Complex. While enrolled in the academy, Corporal Collette was appointed as class leader of LE 147, as well as awarded the Chief G. Ronnie Parker Award for Outstanding Graduate. Corporal Collette began his career at the Indian River County Sheriff's Office as a deputy trainee in November 2017. Corporal Collette completed the Field Training Officer Program in February 2018, when he graduated to solo deputy patrol. Since graduating the Field Training Program, Corporal Collette focused on many narcotics street-level crime prevention patrols. In January 2019, he was selected by retired Under Sheriff Harper to temporary duty with the SIU Vice Unit, during which time Corporal Collette was able to learn from and conduct various everyday investigative aspects of the unit, to include but not limited to CI recruitment, development, and covert camera technology manipulation. During this time, Corporal Collette developed numerous CIs and closed several felony narcotics cases with the guidance and assistance of Corporal Christopher Rodriguez. In May of 2020, Corporal Collette was promoted to corporal and assigned as field training deputy. In February of 2021, Corporal Collette was selected to join the crisis negotiations unit. Corporal Collette was hired by the Indian River State College as an adjunct instructor just in December 2021. Since being hired, he has been involved in general law enforcement curriculum for the Basic Recruit Academy and high liability firearms. In his short time here, he has made a tremendous mark with our recruits. Before introducing Corporal Collette, I would like to point out that his son and daughter are over here in the first row. And so without further ado, Corporal Dwayne Collette.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. It's one hell of a bio. I forgot what was mine for a second. But thank you, LE 167, for having me. Thank you for having me here. The audience, friends, and family, thank you so much. Sheriff Flowers, Deputy Chief Rich, Captain Consuelo, Under Sheriff, thank you so much. So, when this class came to me and said, hey, we want you to speak, one, it was an honor. Again, thank you. And usually this is something that's kind of reserved for high-ranking leadership. You have your chiefs, you have sheriffs, you have, you name it, right? So, like, I don't know if you can tell, but it's only 2 stripes here. So, I was like, man, I have a lot of big shoes to fill, right? But at the same time, I feel like, God works in mysterious ways. And I feel like I had a message to deliver today to this class, to leave with them upon graduation. And hopefully they take the words that I say into the world and make it a better place to serve you guys. So I've decided what I'm going to talk about in a couple different things. Like, man, like, everyone talks about, training, right? How important training is, or, different aspects of mental health. But how about leadership? Effective leadership. Right? We don't need managers, we want leaders. So how do we develop leaders in a law enforcement capacity moving forward? And so again, we think of like the paramount officer, right? You think about his ability to shoot, her ability to drive, understand case law, criminal law, right? And applying those things in the field, but we never think about the intangibles. Right? So there's 2 things that I thought about that I think are really, really important to share. So first thing, accountability. Second thing is ownership. Right, so with accountability. So really all that is just being accountable for the actions that you take. Right, accountability is something that can trickle into every facet that what you do as a law enforcement officer. Accountability makes sure your gun's clean. Something as small as making sure your time card is signed on time, right? Something as small as making sure you're in your zone in a timely manner, finishing your reports that same day, doing full, lengthy, thorough investigation, that's accountability. So imagine a level of accountability where you can look to your zone partner, your sergeant, your lieutenant, your own sheriff and say, you know what, I know that the same qualities of accountability that are in me were given to me by them. a full agency of accountable, respectable officers that do their job to the highest standard and quality. So now how do you groom those qualities into young cadets? Some have no life experience, right? Some are fresh out of high school, 19 years old. We're giving a badge and a gun to a 19-year-old to protect you guys. And there's no sort of like age standard or like a sliding scale, right? Where if you're 19, then you can be that good. If you're 28, you can be that good. No, it's the same Constitution. That can be heavy. That is a lot to put on a young officer. So when they told me, I'm going to be teaching this class in certain instruction, firearms, so on and so forth, I took the lessons the hard lessons that made me who I am. I really stressed that to these guys and girls here. So I understood the importance, right, having mentorship to show somebody accountability and ownership, right? So moving on to ownership, right? And I don't know, you guys probably know Jocko Willink, Navy SEAL, probably see some YouTube videos, right? Extreme ownership, great guy. So I took the same sort of penance with extreme ownership and I applied it to the teachings here. So what is extreme ownership, right? So for example, there was a situation in class where a cadet, their boots weren't as shiny as they were supposed to be. So they did an inspection, boots weren't clean, right? Cadet gets yelled at, move on, right? So then once the inspection was over, I asked the class, whose fault was it that this cadet's boots weren't clean? So people start raising their hands. The cadet raised their hand, sir, it's my fault, that's on me. All right, good answer. Squad leader raised his hand, well, sir, I told the cadet to clean their boots, and that was last night, and here we are in the morning, their boots aren't clean, so yeah, it's their fault. Other leaders in class, yeah, for sure, yeah. That's not on me, right? So I said wrong. Extreme ownership means that every single person that has contact in this class with that one cadet is responsible. Eye rolls. How did you say so, right? Because that level of ownership is not something that we as humans naturally come with. It has to be taught, shared, developed, right, through classes like this. So they were like, I don't know, sir, I don't know about that. So we'll think about it, right? If I'm a squad leader, and my cadets' shoes on shine, they get chewed out for inspection, right, and I go to them and say, where did I fail you as your leader, where you thought you could come to this class with your boots dirty? Now, I always have jobs for the most part, right? How many bosses or managers have approached you in that manner and taken ownership for something that you may have messed up on? Not weird. Right? Where did I fail you as a leader to make you think that you having a IP, which is like an Italian pendant or an Irish pendant on your uniform, all right? Where did I fail you that you come, without having your blue book in your back pocket, right? Where did I fail you as leadership if that was expected? Where you thought you could leave your house that day with me in mind, thinking that was going to be okay. Where did I fail you in communicating my expectations to you? Class was quiet, kind of like this. And I saw light bulbs kind of going off. Like, as humans, we kind of put labels on things, right? Bad, good, right, or wrong. This world didn't come with an instruction manual that told us that things. We kind of learned that, right? So when you start to take the negative connotation out of words like fault or ownership, right? It's not as scary because you understand it's a principle that we are a team. We're in this together, and as long as you are in the same uniform as me, I will always be accountable for you. Now imagine when every single person in this room has that same ideology, how much smoother a place the world would be. So I took these concepts, right? I didn't make them up. I took the concepts, and I thought to apply those to this class through everything that we did, right? I taught them firearms. I think we had some general instruction courses. And in between the curriculum, I always had little tidbits, stories, analogies, right? Examples of ways that extreme ownership, accountability were going to be the most important things they were ever going to need in this job. Again, there's not a sliding scale from 19 to 30 to 50 years of age where you put this uniform on, it's okay to make a little mistake. Some of the mistakes you're going to make can be life-changing. That's love, right? 19-year-old. Right? So last thing, I know you're kind of long-winded at times, but one thing that I want to touch on is very important, especially in today's climate of law enforcement, right? Vulnerability, mental health. Right, unfortunately, we've heard a lot of the law enforcement-related deaths in our profession currently due to mental health. The world is changing, social media is changing, the news is changing, everything around us is changing and evolving. And sometimes our minds can't keep up. So what I want to try to do today is kind of prevent some of that, right? Kind of give you the tools in the toolbox to say, you know what, when you're going through a stressful situation, like I can lean back on the words of Corporal Hoyle today. You will go to calls for service that will be that person, that subject, that complainant, the worst time in their life. Traumatic, it could be a crash, it could be a death, it could be something of violence. You'll have to show up, uniform press, command presence, do your job, adhering to policies, procedures, state statutes, and then go on to the next call. You'll do it upwards of 5 to 10 times a day. So that one person's once in 30-year experience is your regular day. But you have the same brain. Right, so when we start going through experiences like that over and over and over, we think we're compartmentalizing them, that we're okay, we're not saying anything, we're not letting these things out, you are lying to yourself. It affects you. Right? Invisible wounds. You don't see them, but they're there. Because we don't see them, we tend to neglect them. You know, if I go to the mirror, I'm like, man, I ain't looking that nice today. I can go to the gym, I can pump right up. I can see that. But if we're not feeling well here, what do you do? What do you rely on? What tools and toolboxes do you have right now? Right? When I first taught their class, the very first day, I said, introduce yourself, stand up, tell me if you're hired somewhere, and then tell me your #1 fear about joining a career in law enforcement. I didn't ask the usual, like, hey, tell me why you want to be a cop or protect and serve. No, I said, what is your biggest fear in joining law enforcement? And they're like, that's new, I've heard that one before, right? I was like, well, tell me. And so, you know, when I review the common ones, so I don't want to get shot at. You know, I want to go home to my family. I hope one day I can always go home to my family. You know, I don't want to have to shoot somebody. You know, these are the common ones. So I asked them after we went, I said, well, what do you do to prepare for those fears? What defense mechanisms, what tools do you have currently, right? If you're sitting in this room, which means you want to be a cop, right? Somewhere, somehow, you want to do a job in law enforcement, but you have all these fears, but you're not prepared for them. Again, the room is silent, kind of like this. And they just looked at each other, looked at me. I said, well, that's why I'm here. Because I want to make sure that every single one of you can go into your communities, go to your agencies, and make them better. I don't care what rank you are, I don't care what position you are, I don't care what unit, I don't care what agency. Just know when you leave this room, right? But we have this moment, and you're leaders. Every single one of you. I don't care if you can do law enforcement, but be a leader somewhere. Change someone's life. Thank you.
He may not remember this, but when I interviewed him for this position, and I said, why do you want to be an instructor with our recruits? And he said the same sentiments. He wants to make them better. So I knew immediately that we had a great one on our hands. All right, well said, sir. The class address will now be delivered by class leader, Corey Harding.
Friends, family, distinguished guests, thank you for coming here today. Appreciate that. Thank you for supporting us the last 6 months. It's been quite a journey, and 167 now a year, right? Yeah. Congratulations, guys. You guys have all taken their state exam and passed, so we're ready to go. Class 167 is made up of 7 veterans, 2 teachers, and a couple fathers and mothers, and also quite a few young individuals who are just starting their career, and this is what they dreamed of since they were a little boy or girl. So we had quite a diverse group and a whole lot of characters, which made it fun, and at times it was difficult, but we all came together in the end and ended up having each other's backs and found out what having a brother and a sisterhood was all about. And that's what this profession comes with, is having each other's backs. And you're going to learn that real quick, because you're going to be all that you have out there in the field. So know that now. Remember why you came here. When you first joined on orientation in the first couple of days, all these guys said they want to make a difference. They want to be a start of the positive impact moving forward. They want to take the legacy of law enforcement and the things done right and combine that with what the new generation can bring to make it better. So that's what we really want to do. We have a serious mental health crisis in our country. It affects not only us as individuals, but the individuals we're dealing with. And people don't talk about that. And that's something that you guys have to prepare for. You're going to be dealing with people on the worst days. Like Corporal Hoylett said, he said, prepare yourself now. And I mean that. You have to live this. So when you go out there and you put on that uniform, it's not a 9-to-5 job. You came here because you didn't want a 9-to-5 job. You wanted something better than that. You want to do something bigger than yourself, and you want to make your mark. So do that. Live that legacy, and it starts now. Get out there and do as much as you can while you're young so you can set yourself up. Right now, you might not see yourself as being the chief of police someday or whatever, but set yourself up for that and see where it goes. And then when you'll get there, you might say, wow, look at me now. So just put that in the back of your head. Never sell yourself short. My father always told me that, and I appreciate him more than anything, because I've lived my entire life off that, and that's why I'm here today, because I never sold myself short. So with that being said, congratulations, guys. Go out and make a difference. Live this life. Train hard. And you know what? If you enjoy what you do for a living, you'll never work a day in your life, right? Thank you so much.
And now the moment they've all been waiting for, the presentation of certificates. And Recruit Hardy did say that this class was a group of characters, and as much as we'd like to speak individually on them, we don't want any offers to be rescinded, so we're just going to say your names. You know who you are, right? All right, Mr. LaFont.
For our first trainee, it'll be Mythos Alviro. Presenting a certificate will be his grandfather, Lieutenant Nicholas Alviro of the South Palm Beach Police Department. Trainee Dylan Arena. Presenting a certificate will be Officer Garcia with the Port St. Lucie Police Department. Trainee Jordan Bell. Presenting will be Naval Aviation Petty Officer Adam Moeller. Trainee Joseph Bologna. And presenting will be Sheriff Eric Flowers of the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Trainee Joseph Collette. Presenting his certificate is his brother, Matt McCullough, Boston Police Department. Trainee Anthony Consalo. Presenting will be his dad, Captain Tony Consalo, with the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Trainee Chetty Crichton. Presenting will be Pierre Pacheco, U.S. Air Force. Trainee Chelsea Evans. Presenting her certificate will be Fire Department Clinton J. Evans, her dad, and Joe Hamilton. There's a pause. Trainee Christopher Gorski. Presenting to her dad, retired West Palm Beach Police Officer Keith Gorski. Our fearless leader, Corey Harder. Deputy Chief Mark Shaw and Chief Roel from Indian River Shores. Recruit Stephen Hartley Travers. Trainee Soledad Hernandez. Presenting will be retired U.S. Marine Corps Gunnery Sergeant, and that's her father, David Kemp. Recruit Alexander Holly. Presenting a special agent from Homeland Security, Eric Woodward. Trainee Dominic Jacobs. Presenting will be Victor Garcia with the Port St. Lucie Police Department. Trainee Kevin Salas Lopez and presenting will be Trainee Forrest Knowlton. Presenting will be Trooper Sergeant Tom Corey with the FHP. His brother. Trainee Joseph Sable. Presenting will be his brother Raymond, retired U.S. Marine Corps sergeant. Trainee Alexander Stevens. Presenting will be Port St. Lucie Police Officer Mark Woodward. Trainee Stephen Stewart, presenting will be Jeff Wright. We have a pause.
I didn't know.
Trainee Marquise Washington, representative police chief of Fort Police Department. Last but not least, platoon leader Jeffrey Zarba. Presenting will be his dad, U.S. Marine retired Jeff Zarba.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Your check is okay. Thank you for everything. Appreciate you. Fun. Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, our now the class awards. The Top Gun Award is presented to the trainee who displays the greatest proficiency during the firearms block of the program. The trainee has to display their proficiency during 3 separate qualifications. 2 qualifications with a handgun and 1 with a shotgun. With a score of 203 out of 204 and a tie on a written exam, the awards for Top Gun go to trainee Stephen Kravitz, Joseph Williams. If you knew how difficult it was to receive ammunition, you would understand why it's a tie and not a shoot-off. All right, the Defensive Tactics Award. The recipient of the Defensive Tactics Award exemplified service, strength, and spirit during defensive tactics. This trainee is selected by our defensive tactics instructors for putting forth 100% effort consistently. The award goes to Teddy Crichton. The academic award is given to the trainee with the highest academic average. With an average of 98.1%, the award was earned by trainee Alexander Holly. I have to say that trainee Holly did this with a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 7-month-old. All right, the last award is the Ronnie G. Parker Award. Ronnie Parker was a high school quarterback who attended Florida State University on an athletic scholarship. After an injury cut short his athletic career, he entered the Fort Pierce Police Department as a patrol officer. Ronnie Parker was a 28-year veteran of the police department when he became chief of the 100-person force in November 1988. He was incredibly professional while implementing new programs and taking on new issues. He gave his life to the profession. Parker has been memorialized for his integrity, honesty, and loyalty. In his honor, the Cleveland Sheriff's Association created the Ronnie G. Parker Award in 1990. The recipient of this award is chosen by the Academy class in a blind vote for exhibiting the values that Chief Parker lived by. This award is presented to trainee Joseph Williams.